Okay, you're right.
So, how this man can consume that much after gastric bypass, I don't know. But one thing I do know is that he did not change his habits. And that's a very dangerous thing with gastric bypass. You have to. You don't have a choice. You don't change your habits, you could die in the beginning. So how he's been able to get away with eating that much food, I don't know. I guess it must be possible if he truly had the gastric bypass. But I can't wrap my head around it. I know I'd never be able to eat that much food right now. I would get sick. And then another girl had gastric bypass, and she's losing weight. But while I'm watching the video, it's showing how much she's losing weekly, and she's up to week like 18 right now. And well, at the time of the video, I don't know how long it's been since then, but she was at like 291, and she had the surgery, and she started losing weight, and she got down to 227. But the problem was she wasn't exercising. Because I was noticing on her week she would lose for 2 weeks, and then she'd have 2 weeks where she would either lose nothing or she'd only lose like a pound. And then for 2 weeks she would lose again. Apparently what she was doing was going back on the pre-surgical diet every 2 weeks. Because she wasn't exercising. If you exercise, you will lose weight on gastric bypass. I mean, you'll lose weight regardless of gastric bypass or regular weight loss. Right. You can't do one without the other.
Yeah.
You can, but you won't have as big of a result.
You won't have great results. You can do it, but you
can't. And it's not healthy for you. And she was complaining about her excessive skin. Well, yeah, you're having excessive skin. You're not doing anything to tighten it up. You're just laying around losing weight. That's irresponsible.
Yeah. You need to do some toning exercises.
And again, it goes back to change. Yep. If you're going to do something as drastic as gastric bypass, it's not something you can prepare for. That I can tell you right now, because I wasn't prepared for everything that came with it. It's just like a child. You get pregnant, you decide to keep that child, have a child, but you can't ever truly prepare for what's going to happen once that child's born. You can just get the necessities, which is the same thing with gastric bypass. You get the necessities you need, but you have to be prepared for change. And you have to be prepared that it may not go the way you expect it to. And the problem with both of these two, in my opinion, is that neither one of them were ready to change. They wanted the quick fix-it diet and, saying, and apparently they must have had insurance that will cover it. So they had it done, and they don't want to do what's necessary to keep their body going.
Right.
And the problem with doing the liquid diet after gastric bypass is that you're not getting enough nutrients otherwise, and you're not training your body to absorb enough food. So basically you're taking your pouch and you're shrinking it to nothing, and then eating and filling it back up, shrinking it, filling it. It's not a good thing to do. I'm sure she gets sick a lot. And it's just not, it's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to just completely cut food out of your life because you had gastric bypass. And she would be losing weight steadily if she would exercise. So that's irresponsible. It's irresponsible, and it's stupid. Don't have gastric bypass then if you're not going to do the right thing by it. Because the only person you're hurting is yourself and your family. Because if something happens to you because you're stupid, then who's going to take care of your family?
That's when you go back to the research. You have to go. You have to research your stuff, including any diet. I mean, if you do the eat this, not that, or you do the gastric bypass, you got to know your stuff. You got to do your research. Know what you're getting yourself in. As much as you can.
And they prepare you though in that clinic. So she had to have known what was expected of her after surgery. She's choosing not to do it.
Lazy.
Just like
either lazy or just too busy. It's one of the two. But even if still, you can find 30 minutes. To do you will when you're sitting on your butt watching TV and you see those damn commercials, get up and do
some jumping jacks, arm lifts, weight.
You can do exercises. For an hour show, you spend about 22 minutes watching commercials.
I changed the channel.
Still, during that commercials, you could be exercising for 22 minutes.
Sometimes I'm watching 3 or 4 shows at one time.
You're not helping the situation, my dear.
And the problem also with people like that, in my opinion, is that they have 100 excuses.
Yeah, I can't have
I can't
excuses.
exercise because I'm doing this. I can't exercise because I'm doing that. Or I can't eat right because I'm doing this. I don't give a shit.
I have a busy schedule, and I still figure time to go and work out. If you don't work out, how do you feel?
Run down.
I feel tired. Like I do now.
Run
I feel
down.
tired.
You didn't exercise today?
I did exercise today. I feel tired.
No, I feel run down when I don't exercise. And to be
I feel
perfectly, I don't feel depressed. I just feel run down. Personally, I get a lot of exercise. At least an hour, but I've cut back on it this week. I haven't been doing my Biggest Loser at night because I've been really tired. And I still go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
So it's only half an hour workout right now for me.
Half an hour.
Right. And the minimum you should be getting is a half an hour, but I prefer an hour, but I just haven't been able to do it because I've been so tired. And that's been because I haven't been consuming the right amount of nutrients a day. Mm-hmm. And it's hard, like I said before, it's just a hard thing to do because I was having problems eating there for a while. And now I'm finally getting back on track so I can start eating again. And another problem I'm having is getting in my water. I'm doing
that trouble too.
I was doing a really good job of getting in 60 ounces at the minimum a day. And now I've only been getting 30 to 40 ounces a day because I have a hard time making up time to do it. Because the problem with gastric bypass too is you're not supposed to drink half an hour before eating. And you should wait a half an hour after eating a drink. So that's like a 2-hour span where I'm not drinking water. Because it takes me an hour and a half to eat my food. And then I gotta wait an hour. Then I gotta wait a half an hour. So it's just annoying some days. Some days I don't even want to drink the water because I'm tired of having to wait to drink it.
Right.
And so, it's just a burnt out thing. And you have to be prepared for that too, because for me, when I was normally dieting without the gastric bypass, at this point, when I get to this phase, I stop dieting. And I just start doing whatever I wanted again. I start eating any time of the day, eating whatever I wanted, eating out 3 or 4 times a week. I would just go back to doing anything because I was burnt out on dieting. And you don't have that option with gastric bypass. You don't get to go back and do whatever you want. And so I'm trying to make myself push forward, which I think is part of my depression because at this point in the game, I would just want to go back to the normal part of life. Eating with my family, eating out when I want to, having fried food, Chinese food, all the things that I do honestly miss some days I would like to consume again. And I can't because the surgery, even if, the surgery doesn't allow it.
Right.
So it's a change. And that's kind of, I think, a main theme going on right now with this vlog is change. And the fact that nobody wants to change. And
we're all stuck in our ways.
And we all are stuck in our ways, but when it comes to health, you have to change.
Yeah.
And when you have children, you have to be careful. What's going on over here?
You have to change.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You do. Anyway, shakes your head in shame.
About children? What?
But when you have children, you also have to realize the example you're setting. Like, Jenny comes from a family that likes to eat out and eats big portions. And they pass that bad habit down. And that's one habit that I found I was trying to pass down to my children was not the same thing, but I made a lot of eating out in the beginning with my kids, and there was a time when it was just Adrian, where I just let Adrian eat out in the living room because I didn't feel like sitting at the table because it was just me and her. Why sit at the table?
Right.
And it's just bad habits, and she could eat whatever she wanted. That's why I had so many food issues with her.
Now she's picky.
But she still knows she has to eat. And so when I started changing my eating habits, I noticed that my children started having pre-references towards other foods that I was eating that were healthier. And it just shows you that your habits wear off on your kids. And if you don't change, they're not going to change either.
Okay, we'll meet you in part 7.